Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for showing up to the first episode of a series that I've created and pretty proud of, and I like the idea of so much, called Chad or Cringe. The tier list where there's only two tiers, Chad or Cringe. And today, we're going to go through a series near and dear to my heart that most people that know me know I love me some Crash Bandicoot. And I have for a long time. It was the first game I've ever played in my entire life. I went through the first game on stream. If you guys haven't seen that, be sure to go check that out after you're done with this. And like I said, this was just an original idea I kind of came up with. I liked the tier list idea, but I just thought there was too many tiers and this just should be better than this. This should be better than that. This is obviously a C tier. No, there is Chad and there is Cringe. And today we find out what is Chad and what is Cringe. So let's start with the Bandicoot. The main character, Crash. Now, obviously, Crash is the biggest Chad there is. Crash is the Chad of the series. Crash, the only cringe thing about Crash is Mutants Crash. Mutants Crash was kind of cringe. But we don't talk about Mutants Crash because now we have 4. And 4 Crash is a Chad. So Crash, I feel like I don't even really need to explain it. Crash is a freaking Chad, and that's just all there is to it. Next, we have Coco. Now, Coco is the brains. She's the little sister. When she first came out, when I was a kid, she was cringe, you know. Originally, Go get a battery for me, big brother. Go in the forest and go find me a laptop battery. Like, it was just kind of cringe, you know? Like, what you think your brother's just gonna go find you a battery in the forest? I always just thought that was cringe. But later on, you find out she's a Chad. Yeah, cool. All right, Coco is a Chad. Now I know what you're thinking. Like I was saying earlier, I was arguing the point. No. Coco's a Chad. She's the brains. She goes out there. In the new game, she goes out there too. Anything and everything Crash can do, she can go out there and she can do just as well. And in Crash Team Rumble, she was better. Now, for Cortex. Cortex is in between, alright? Because hear me out. I'm leaning towards cringe. Okay? Here's the deal with Cortex. Cortex from Crash Bandicoot 1, 2, and 3, a Chad. Crash Bandicoot after that, once Uka Uka showed up, bro, like, it just ended everything. You can't have the final boss have a boss, you know? It drops him down, you know? He was... And especially now with how goofy he acts in the newer games. Like in the first game, he was threatening. He was scary. You were intimidated by Cortex. Now he's just a joke. He's not the same. And because of that, Cortex is our first cringe. Now on to Aku Aku. Aku Aku saves your life. He Budopakas everywhere. He's just the best. So I think it's easy to he protects you from damage. There's no other place that I can put him other than Chad. Yeah. He's not cringe. This image is cringe, but he's not cringe. Now, Uka Uka is also Chad. Because how are you going to have the big bad, right? And then there be a big bad above the big bad that the big bad is afraid of. Uka Uka is the definition of Chad behavior. Okay, he was out here. He was trying to do evil things from locked away, And we didn't find out about any of this until Crash 3. So, Uka Uka, instant Chad. Now, Tawna's got a redesign in Crash 4, and that Tawna is a Chad. But this Tawna right here, the damsel in distress, I'm gonna have to say cringe, bro. I'm just gonna have to do it. And then on top of that, when she goes to leave Crash, the main hero, the number one Chad of the game, for another character, Pinstripe later on, like, you're just gonna leave him. You're gonna leave your first love interest that went and saved your life. He escaped the first game. He didn't have to come back for you. He came and he saved you, and you leave him for Mr. Pinstripe Pururu. Like, come on. That makes you an instant cringe in my book. Just instant. Now Crunch is he's the man's Bandicoot, right? He's the big strong man. He's got the muscles. He works out. He's what every man works to be, right? But it's tough. The Mr. T, and then you have the Mr. T impression. The Mr. T impression was pretty good, okay? It was funny. It was a good bit. But is it enough to keep him from being cringe? I mean, the little brother that's just jacked and his whole thing is just working out all the time. Like, is that enough? Nah, he's a Chad. Come on now. Look at the muscles, man. I can't not put him as a Chad. You know how upset everybody would be, let alone me, how mad I would be if I didn't put this muscle-bound Bandicoot in Chad? Like, he is the definition, right? Besides Crash, he's just as big as a Chad, if not more. Now we get to Velo. Velo is instant cringe, right? The emperor of a whole planet. He abducts you, and we're gonna make you race. Cringe, bro. Cringe. And then on top of that, you're hiding yourself. This isn't even the real Velo. The real Velo is a short little man. Like, it's just Wizard of Oz all over again. The whole bit was just not good, man. So he's also cringe. Fake Crash is goofy, right? Fake Crash is Crash, but dumber. How do you dumb down Crash? Because Crash is already kind of stupid. You can't clone a Chad, right? You just, in my head, he's just instant cringe because Fake Crash is not Crash. He's trying to replace Crash and trying to be the real Crash, and it's not gonna happen because you can't replace a Chad with cringe. So Fake Crash is in the cringe tier. Now Ripperoo is freaking Chad territory, bro. Okay, here we are, right? The crazy, insane, psychotic kangaroo, right? And then later on in the next game, it says 1 year later, this kangaroo is sitting at a desk with a top hat on, a monocle, reading these books like he's a freaking like genius now. You see his stage, right? He's got all these books around like he's been studying, and the whole time you've been gone, he's like a genius. And then you attack him, and he goes back to his old ways, like the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. And that's what makes him a Chad, right? Because he's psychotic. He's in this straitjacket. He's the character that you're like, oh man, he's flipping crazy. He's psychotic. No one thinks anything of Ripperoo, right? He's just a psychotic kangaroo until he isn't, and then he's a Chad. Because knowledge is Chad worthy. All right. Now we got Koala Khan. Remember how I was talking about Crunch with the big muscles, and how could I not make him a Chad, right? Koala Kong is cringe, okay? There is such thing as too much muscle. There is such thing as too much working out. And Koala Kong is so big that his body is bigger than his own head, right? With Crunch, he's got a head, right? Where's Koala Khan's neck? Right? Where's his neck? And then the little booty shakes that he does at you to show off his glutes? Cringe, bro. Do better. Do better. Now, Embryo. I'm just gonna say it now for both of these. If you work under the main bad, and your main bad is Cringe, and he was working under another main bad, that just makes you cringe. Like, what are you doing? You guys should be doing so much more. I'm putting both of these together, right? Because both Embryo and Engine, they could do so much better for themselves, but instead they decide to work for Cortex. You know? They could just do so much better. They could be out doing so much more. Think of all of the potions and crap that Embryo could be making. All of that stuff. But instead, he decides, I gotta be better than Cortex. I gotta work and I gotta do that. No. Like, just no. And then Engine, he's just... Imagine Igor. That's Engine, right? He's cringe. He's just cringe. Now, Papu is a village man. He is the chief of the village. He is the big cheese. And because of that, he's a Chad. Because how are you not going to be a Chad running and being chief of your own village, right? You play Crash 1 and you run into Papu, and the only reason why he attacks you is because you've been messing with his people and you go and invade his house. He's not attacking you because Cortex sent him after you. No, you ran into his village. You attacked his people. And he's going to defend not only his people, but his own home as well. So because of that, he's a Chad. He's a Chad. Tiny's a Chad.
Cool.
All right, Tiny's a Chad because Tiny was before there was a Crunch, there was a Tiny, and Tiny is just Crunch, but evil. He's not as smart, but neither is Crunch, and he's not anywhere near as big and as crazy as Koala Khan. He works out. He does what he's told, even though you have Embryo and Engine in the Cringe tier for following Cortex, Tiny would rip Cortex apart. Like, he could. Embryo and Engine are trying to be better than Cortex. Well, okay, not Engine, but Embryo is trying to be better than Cortex, and Cortex is already Cringe. He's already working under somebody else. So with Tiny, it's just because he doesn't have the brain. If Tiny was smart, he would rip Cortex apart, and then he would rip Crash apart. But he can't because Crash is the ultimate Chad. So, Tiny, even though he's got the pea brain, he's a Chad. Okay? He's gotta be. It's Tiny. Pinstripe is also a Chad, right?
Yeah.
We were talking about how Pinstripe, he stole the girl, right? He steals the girl, but you show up. You play as Crash, you show up. And what happens is you're like, yo, I'm here to fight your boss. And Pinstripe isn't taking any of it. He pulls out that Tommy gun. That's the first time I had ever seen a gun in a game. My first game I ever played, and he pulls out a Tommy gun, and he hides behind he's shooting at you the whole time. You have to hide behind furniture to even attack this man. The only reason why this man loses his fights is because he has to reload and his gun jams up. The only thing that stops Pinstripe is a gun. he would probably annihilate you without it. The gun doesn't make the character. The character is a boss. He's a mafia boss. He has guys behind him. He's following the boss, who's following the boss, but on top of that, he's the boss of his own men. He's gotta be the Chad. He's a Chad, right? Instant Chad. Entropy is also a Chad. Okay, and here let me explain why. Entropy is the guy that the big boss turns to, Uka, when things are going wrong. And he goes back through time to get crystals and gems, so that way Crash and Coco and Uka are, can't. It ends up working out to where they're able to, but he recruits this man to take care of these three. Now, if that isn't that's you have the main bad going and recruiting this guy to help you because Cortex couldn't take care of the problem. He's gotta be a big Chad, right? And then after in Crash 4, you see once Uka opens the portal getting them home, he's like, leave him. We're going to take care of this ourselves. Leaving Uka, the big boss ahead of Neo Cortex, behind. That is Chad behavior. We're not going to organize these. These are all Chads. They're all equally Chads. Crash is just the biggest one. And these aren't in order of cringe either. But just Entropy would definitely be right behind Crash, in my opinion, if these were in any type of order. Now Entrance is cringe, right? Entrance is a character for the same reason for Entropy. Uka goes for Entrance and hopes to stop these three. The problem with Entrance is he's working with Entropy, but Entropy is the cooler big bad. He's the Chad. He's the copy, right? He's the copy. He's the Timex. He's supposed to be Entropy is the time guy. He's the one that can control the time. Entrance is supposed to be the same thing, but Entrance can also hypnotize. That's his whole spick, right? So Entrance is cringe. Also, he's just Humpty Dumpty. Can we just be real? He's just Humpty Dumpty in a robot suit, and that's cringe on its own. Now, Oxide is a Chad.
Cool.
Okay, because this alien decided to just show up one day and be like, "Hey, I need your best racers. And if you guys can't beat me, I'm turning your planet into my own personal parking lot. I am enslaving everyone on your planet, and you guys are losing it, and we're turning it into a parking lot." That is flippin' Chad behavior, okay? You don't become the fastest racer in the universe by making small itty-bitty dares or bets like that. And when you do race Oxide in team racing, he annihilates you, bro. He cheats, but even without the cheating, think about everything that he throws at you while still cheating. He just shows up and he's all about the business, right? He's all about you catching them hands. He's like, we're gonna race and we're gonna annihilate. I'm gonna annihilate you. You're going to lose. Bring your best man here right now to come and race me. That's what it's all about. Nina Cortex, the original Nina Cortex that was in Twinsanity when you first meet her is cringe. Okay? Quiet Nina with no personality is cringe. The more personality they gave her, the more of a Chad she became. Alright? Nina's better than Cortex in almost every way. She's smarter, she's younger, she makes mistakes, right? But when she's in those other games besides Twinsanity, she actually does things that you would be like, wow, that was crazy, right? Nina isn't going to take anyone's shit, anyone's crap. She's not going to take it. She's going to make sure you get what's coming to you. Cortex can't do that. And Uka assigns her to be the big bad later on when Cortex can't do it. No, we don't talk about those games, but it's true. Baby T. I love the animal creatures, right? But Baby T is great. Let's talk about it. So, Baby T he hatches from the egg and instantly jumps in, and Crash jumps on him and he rides him, and he's just a Yoshi at that point. You can't attack with him. He has no way of attacking. He's just he jumps really high, and you ride through like the grass with him because it's faster. If he gets attacked, he runs away or he dies, and it's sad. But there's nothing else to him, you know. Unlike with our next character, Polar.
Yeah.
Polar has a lot to him. Polar and you know what, Purra too, right? These two make sense. With Polar, you jump on him, you roll on him, you're riding the baby polar bear, you're crashing through crates, and you dash with him, and you run so much faster. And every single time, even if you die on Polar doesn't die. That's what makes him a Chad, right? The main character who is the biggest Chad dies. You survive, no matter what. You fall in that icy water, guess what? He's sitting right on top of Crash, frozen, right? You run into the nitro and the TNT, Polar's taking all that damage. Crash blows up. The only thing you see are those trunks falling on Polar's face, right? Polar survives. Crash doesn't. Polar is a Chad. Baby T, he's a dinosaur, right? He's a dinosaur. And he's less durable than a baby polar bear at that. Purra is like the same thing, just for Coco. Takes the damage. You fall off, and when you fall off of Purra goes flying. Well, not anymore. In the old games, Purra goes flying. In the new game, falls right in your lap. Survives. Blow up. It's fine, right? Nothing really happens with Purra. Purra is a Chad, right? I don't have too many other points for him, but it is what it is. Now the twins are Chads.
Cool.
Twins show up randomly through another dimension to come after Cortex, and they're like, "Hey, we're coming after you. We know you treated us like crap when you owned us, and they're coming back for revenge." And guess what? They take his brain out of his head. That's like their first encounter. They take Cortex's brain out of his head just to do it. Just because they cause problems throughout the entire game for revenge. They didn't have to, but that's some Chad behavior. So the twins go in Chad. Pasadena Opossum is also Chad. The only reason why Pasadena Opossum takes Chad territory is because Pasadena Opossum knows what she wants. She wants to win the races, and she wants to win the heart of the biggest Chad that there is. Pasadena Opossum gets the Chad territory. She gets the Chad badge. Von Clutch is crazy. We all know it, right? The the military like theme park owner. Just I own a racing theme park, and I need my powder crystals. Please go and help me. Like, he couldn't go and do it himself. It's your theme park, man. Why did you have to recruit our boy for your problem, for a theme park of all things, you know? Do better, Von Klett. Do better. Wumpa Cheeks instant cringe. That doesn't need any explanation. You work for the park owner as a mascot. You turned out to be the bad, but you're the lamest bad of all of the bads. You're the probably cringiest character that has ever existed in Crash Bandicoot. You, sir, take the cringiest badge there is. Lil Wumpa Cheeks is the ultimate cringe. And then last but not least, we have the elementals, right? The elementals, all 4 of them, I'm just gonna say it now, they're all chads.
Yeah.
And the reason why I make them all chads is because Uka Uka goes, it's more of what I keep saying. The big bad goes to recruit help to get back at the good guys, the chads. He recruits the help, he gets the help. They don't do the greatest, right? But when Aku Aku finds out what Uka Uka is doing and recruits these elementals, he starts freaking out, right? He's going nuts. And if he's going nuts and he's going crazy and he's all scared and upset, it's got to be for a reason, right? These guys must have caused some crazy thing to happen. And then on top of that, after Wrath of Cortex, they're never really mentioned again. So there's Easter eggs in Crash 4, but I just think all 4 of them are chads, right? If you can get Aku Aku to be afraid of you in any sort of way, you're a chad in my book, right? Now let's go through. I'm pretty sure I'm confident with my decisions here. The only thing I think I would change, if I had to change anything, was no. This is pretty much perfect, right? Yep. This is it. So let me know in the comments what you guys think of this new tier list format. I really like this idea. I think it's original, right? The 2 tiers, are they a good, cool character, or are they a shitty, lame character? That's pretty much what it comes down to, and I like this format. So if you want to see more of these, be sure to hit the like button. I have a bunch of ideas for characters that I want to do for this, and be sure to subscribe if you're new, because like I said, I want to do more of these for sure. And I've already talked to the boys, and we're gonna do more of these in the future. If you would like, in the comments, tell me what characters you think in the Crash universe are chads, and what characters you think are cringe. In my personal opinion, I think this list is perfect. I don't think I would, like I said, I don't think I would change a thing. But anyways, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next thing I make. See you later.